Already. What is goody wasabi? I don't remember where that's from. Anyways, welcome back to Made for More Ministries. I'm Jake. Oh, dude, man, I'm really gonna. Okay, anyways, continuing our series, we started with submitting to the Lord, and then we went on to being devoted to His path, not giving up. And then we moved on to the fight and having a passion and a fight for it. Today, what I feel like the Spirit has really put in front of me is being willing. This is something that I've heard a multitude of times. Today, I did reading with my dad, and one of the biggest things was it was over like money. And one of the things that he was really saying was, and the book was saying was it had a heavy emphasis on the only people who are really going to achieve that are the ones who are willing to put in the work. So like in the story, the dude was willing to put 4 years of work just for one opportunity. But in those 4 years of work, he had learned habits. He had been preparing for then the opportunity to have, and he was able to be blessed and continue from there. So that leads into this whole point, and I listened to Stephen Furtick again. That's his name. I remember, and one of the things he was saying was just like in this season, you know, the season of waiting, the season of growing, the season of walking through things, like you have to be the one willing. One of my favorite videos from him is we don't have to get rid of desires if they're from God. And in the waiting for it, it's not if God, it's when God. So if God does this, if he will do this, if he's going to, no. When God does this, when he moves the mountain, when he makes a way, when he parts the sea, then I'll walk through. But one of the big things was, it's what are you willing to do in the waiting season? So that's the theme of today, being willing. And what does that look like? What does it mean to be willing? For me, that means doing what we talked about previously, and then also willing to do the hard things. My example is this. I want to be a baseball player, and obviously I want to be a speaker and all these other things. Not really, it's really just those two things. But I have to do a lot of things. And in those things, specifically those two, with being a baseball player, I have to learn money. And in order to be a speaker, I have to be able to handle the money that I receive, the money that I get, and the money that I need to do stuff. So at 17 years old, I'm 17 years old, I am having to read out loud to my dad. And when I tell you I'm a speaker, right, the Lord has made me to be a speaker. Me reading is like honestly low-key, like high-key actually embarrassing. Like it's not right. I'm stuttering through words. And they're like switching up in my brain. I'm like reading it and trying to say it, and I'm like, man, but it would sound much better this way, going back to my speaking roots. But like he's reading it along with me, so like he knows if I skip a word or something, so I have to read it how it's read, and it's dumb and it's embarrassing. And with being a baseball player, I have to be able to be athletic. I have to be able to, and one of those things is being explosive. A great way to become explosive is by sprinting and running. So here I am. I'm 17 years old, mind you, and this is all in the past week. I'm learning how to run and how to read out loud. I'm 17 years old. I'm learning to run and read out loud. To me, that's really embarrassing. To me, having to go to, my coach, who he's a father, going to my own dad, obviously he's a father, having to be around, my grandpa, my mom walking around the house while I'm reading out loud, or, other coaches and other trainers, and other trainees working out while I'm learning how to run. It's embarrassing. But, and this is the whole point, I am so willing to do what the Lord has for me that no matter how embarrassing it is, how stupid I feel like I look, or how stupid I feel, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to put myself down on the line. So to me, being willing is doing things even if you don't feel like it. Doing things even if it's hard, but I'm willing. For instance, what I'm going through now and what I wish that I could really convey is I'm willing. I'm so willing. I'm willing to work it out. I'm willing to go through it. I'm willing to have the bad days. I'm willing to look stupid. I'm willing to have everybody else call me stupid, say it's not going to happen, or it hasn't been enough time, or you don't have any time, or you've already been there and tried that and done that and it didn't work that time, it's not going to work again. Being willing to go through all that, and take all that, be talked about, be mocked, be laughed at, have adults be like, that's stupid, don't do that, that's dumb. It's like, this is what the Lord has called me to. I'm willing. I don't want to. One, I grew up very unathletic. I grew up the fat kid, the short fat kid. So like athletic. So like, again, learning how to run, like learning how to efficiently run. Obviously I know how to run, but like learning how to really run, just looking at myself and being like, I don't care. I don't want to do that. I don't want to learn how to run. I'd rather play video games or watch TV or, do that. I'd rather do a lot of things. But this is what the Lord has called me to do. I don't want to read. I don't want to have to read out loud. I don't want to have to read out loud to my parents. But I want to be a good baseball player. I want to have money for my kids, for my wife, for my parents. I want to have money to be able to do whatever I want. And that's what it takes. That's what the Lord has for me. So being willing to walk through it. So I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you're dealing with. But you got to be willing. There's something that the Lord is telling you to do, and you got to be willing to do it. Because either A, you're not going to do it, and when your blessing does come, because the Lord will always fulfill his end, when your blessing comes, you won't be ready, you won't recognize it, and it'll be a wasted door. And lesson learned, or lesson repeated until lesson learned. Or you lay it down and you're willing and you go through it, and you lose and you lose and you lose and you lose and you lose, but then God's going to fulfill, and you'll be ready and you'll be willing to go through it, and you'll be prepared to receive that. That's what I'm learning now, even in this waiting, because the delay is not denial. The delay is for preparation. This came across, my mom sent me this, and I'll finish with this. My mom sent me this verse, James 1, 2 through 4. I've talked about it previously, but just her sending it to me again. And it was about diligence. So being willing, to be diligent, being willing to stick with it, what we've talked about. But just again, when it talks about, I love what it said, because her translation was like, you have to let the work be finished. You have to let the work be finished. Then you will be complete, lacking nothing. You don't want to jump into it prematurely. That was so big for me and so hard for me to understand. But at the same time, throw me on a stage. Well, actually, probably not that one. If you throw me on a stage, I'm going to be able to speak. But like, throw me in the major leagues. Throw me into something. You put me up against like Shohei Ohtani. I'm striking out 10 out of 10 times. But I grind and 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 I get there. Then I at least have a shot. Baseball's hard, but like, at least then, like, I have a shot to reach the potential versus, just throwing myself in there. So I know it's hard. I know it hurts. I'm sorry, and I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you're dealing with, but you got to be willing to do what the Lord needs you to do. Whatever that is. Whatever relationship that you need to be in or you don't need to be in. Because trust me, there's both. A lot of people will focus on, what's that relationship you need to get rid of? Now, what's that relationship that you need to be in? For me, that's my dad. That's a relationship I need to be in, and I'm not. But there's also definitely been times where it's like, yeah, you should not be in that relationship. Because it's causing you to sin. It's causing you to go further and further from the Lord's purpose. You got to discern, what's the relationship you need to be in? What's the relationship you don't need to be in? There's other things. What are you doing? For me, there's things that I'm not doing and things I need to do. I need to read my Bible. I need to pray. I need to worship. I need to train. I need to do my due diligence. I don't need to be watching YouTube all the time. I don't need to be laying down all the time. There's a world of everything. Figure out what you need to be willing to let go of and what you need to be willing to let in. I know it's hard. I know it sucks. But it is well worth it because we are so close. I'm telling you, the Lord He's stirring right now. He's doing something. He is preparing your blessing. But what are you doing in the in-between? Don't let your blessing come and throw you off. Let your blessing come and be able to attach and complete instead of compete. So that's kind of just what the Lord has been telling me. Let me know what you got out of it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Remember that we love you, and more importantly, God loves you. And always remember, you are made for more. Go have a great day.